Dhammabhajani and Panya Puchaka. And the main purpose of here that the Dhammas, that is the Chitta Chesika Rupa Nibbana, they are analyzed here in the form of our Khand, Dhatu, Ayatan, etc. In the case of Dhatu Katha, here it examines in relation to 18 Dhatus and 5 Khandhas, that is the Panchaskandhas, Rup Khanda, Vedana Khanda, Sanya Khanda, Sankhar Khanda, and Bhyan Khanda, and 12 Ayatanas or 12 bases. So the main purpose is that it shows how 4 realities fits into aggregates and the elements. That is the how the 4 ultimate realities, Chit, Chesik, Rup, Nibbana, they are fitting together in the Panchakandhas or the 12 Ayatanas or 18 Dhatus. The main purpose of a Pugal Payati that it applies classifications to the persons. There are 327 personalities which have been analyzed in the text Pugal Payati. We are not going to discuss the contents of the Pugal Payati, but the main purpose of the Pugal Payati that it bridges Paramat, that is the 4 ultimate reality, Chit, Chaisik, Rup, Nibbana, with the designations of the human types, that is the Payati. In the Kathavattu, the debates heterodox schools using Matika's categories. And the main that Theravadins defends themselves 4 ultimate realities doctrinally, what it has been said in the Dhammasaṅgaṇi. Again, in the text of Yamaka, there are yugma pairs of the ultimate realities, which questions to refute the logic and reasoning. And it analyzes Chitta, Chetsik, Rupa, and Nibbana manner. In the case of Pathan, we see that how there is relations between the mind and matter, Nam and Rupa, or how Chitta, Chetasik and the Rupa are related with each other. And there are 24 types of Pachayas, which discusses between the relations between mind and matter. So here, Pathan text also shows the interrelations of all Dhammas, that is the Chitta, Chetasik, Rupa, and Nibbana. So in Pathan, if you see that how the Chitta, Chetasik, Rup, Nibbana, which have been discussed in the first text of Abhidhamma Pitaka, in the 4th chapters, Chittupad Kanda, Rupa Kanda, Nikhepa Kanda, and Arthudwar Kanda, how there is a relationship between the Chitta, Chetasik and Rupa. So they have been discussed with the help of 24 types of Pachayas in the 6th volume of our Pathan Pakarana. So we see that how there is a establishment of the Matikas in other texts except Dhammasaṅgaṇi. So Dhammasaṅgaṇi is in the sense of basic text of Abhidhamma Pitaka. Again, there are some functions related with our that Dhammasaṅgaṇi is also related with that it introduces the Abhidhamma Pitaka with Matikas. Why Dhammasaṅgaṇi is called Mulpakarana? Second is the Matika form the blueprint of the Abhidhamma analysis. Third, that the Matikas provide a systematic classifications of Dhamma, which the later text elaborate in another ways. In Vibhanga, Dhatu Katha, Pugal Payati, Kathavattu, Yamak and Pathan, they have been elaborated in different manners. The Arthasalini states that just like the roots supports to a standing of a tree, in the same manner, the Matikas which have been established in the form of 22 Tik Matikas, 100 Tuk Matikas, and 42 Sutant Matikas, they have been analyzed in different manners in our other text. So the role of the Matika is only that how Tik Matika discusses about the Kusal, Akusal, and Abhyakat, that is the Vipak and Kriya Chitta. And again, Dukmatika, there are 100 Dukmatikas which have been divided into 13 subheadings of the in the form of Hetu Gochaka, Chulantara Dukkha, Asava Gochaka, Nivaran Gochaka, Yoga Gochaka, Ganth Gochaka. So there are 10 Gochakas and 3 Chulantar Dukkha, Mahantar Dukkha, and Pitti Dukkha. They have been discussed in the form of our. So here they are also analyzing in the Sankhat, Asankhat, Rupa, and Arupino. So Sankhat are the Dhammas which are composite. They are arising on the basis of the cause and conditions. Sankhat Dhammas, Asankhat Dhammas are those Dhammas which do not come on the basis of cause and conditions, that is the Hetu and Pacha. There are some of the Rupino Dhamma that which have been discussed in the second chapter and the third chapter of Dhammasaṅgaṇi. And it also discusses Arupino, that how many are the states which are called as a Chit and Chetasik. So this there is a role of Matika is elaborated in different manner. So these 22 Tik Matikas and 100 Duk Matikas, they are giving the entirety of the Dhammas and serving as a analysis of the 4 ultimate realities, Chitta, Chetasik, Rupa, and Nibbana. So this is the these are some of the causes which have been discussed in our Atasalani, that Dhammasaṅgaṇi is called as a Mula Pakarana. Now we are coming to the next that establishment of the Matikas in Dhammasaṅgaṇi. We had discussed that how Matikas have been defined, that Matu Samathena Matika or Mata Bhiyati Matika, that Matikas are metrics, small points or the visions through which the bigger ideas are developed. So we have also discussed about that Matikas are in two types, Abhidhamma Matika and Sutanta Matikas. We had also discussed that Abhidhamma Matika is of two types, Tikmatika and Dukkamatika. Tikmatika is of that type of Matika which consists 3 questions, like Katme Dhamma Kusala, Katme Dhamma Akusala, Katme Dhamma Abhyakata. There are 3 questions, and altogether there are 22 Tik Matikas, starting or beginning from the Kusala Tik, Vedana Tik, Vipaka Tik, Sankalita Tik, and other Tik. So there are 22 Tik. So altogether there are 66 angles of visions or the Matikas which have been discussed under the 22 Tik Matikas. Further, 100 Duk Mati, there are Duk Matikas which are 100 in number. Duk Matika is that type of Matika which consists 2 questions. Each Duk Matika has 2 questions. Altogether, there are 100 Duk Matikas. So there are 200 questions. So altogether in Abhidhamma Matika, we are having 266 angles of visions or the points through which our the Chitta Chetasik Rupa Nibbana, they have been established in the 4 chapters of Dhammasaṅgaṇi. So there are other scholars like Buddhadatta and Varder. They have defined the meaning of the Matika. That word Matika may be interpreted as Matrika or Mataka, that which belongs to mother. Therefore, it means that Matika is in the sense of mother, just like a mother who gives birth to a small baby, and a small baby is being nourished by the mother, and the small baby becomes young. In the same manner, the Matikas are small points or small angles or visions through which the bigger ideas are developed. Therefore, as the mother Matika keeps and helps in the development of various dhammas or abhidhamma. This is the now, according to Yanati Loka, the word Matika may also be compared to a mold or matrix, as it is used for casting metal, as has been suggested by Yanatiloka. Another alternative rendering for Matika is schedule, as used by Vikhu Yanamoli in his English translation of Visuddhimagga. Again, there is a discussion about the Matika that in Nagarjuna Kunda inscription, there occurs the expression Panchamatuka, which is an irregular form of Panchamatrika, Pali Matika. The term Panchamatrika refers to 5 and not 7 texts of Abhidhamma Pitaka. It may be presumed that at the time of Nagarjuna Kunda, there might not be 7 texts of Abhidhamma Pitaka. Only 5 texts have been mentioned in the Nagarjuna Kunda. So 2 texts omitted are the Pathan and Kathavathu. It seems that by the time when Nagarjuna Kunda inscriptions was engraved, the Pathan and Kathavathu was not compiled, or it was not in the form of complete. So we know that Nagarjuna Kunda inscriptions at the time of King Asoka in 251 BC, and there is a development of Kathavathu also. And at the time of Third Buddhist Council, the Kathavathu was composed by Mogliputra Tisarthera. So these 2 texts, Pathan is the last text of Abhidhamma Pitaka. It might not have been taken in the form of a text by that time when the Nagarjuna Kunda was inscriptions was engraved. So there is a mention of only Panchamatuka there. Again, we have discussed these Abhidhamma Matika and Sutanta Matika. Again, how they are established in our before the 4 chapters of Dhammasaṅgaṇi. So we have discussed about the Dhammasaṅgaṇi, that how C.F. Rhys Davids translate the term Dhammasaṅgaṇi as a compendium of states. But if you go through the literal meaning of Dhammasaṅgaṇi, that Saṅgaṇi is a Saṅgaṇana or Garana. So in that sense, it is called as enumeration of the Dhamma, that is the Chitta Chaitasic, Rupa and Nibbana. So here Dhammasaṅgaṇi is entirely devoted in enumerating, explaining, evaluating the 4 reals of Abhidhamma in various ways. Light has been thrown on the reals with the number of visions of angles to explain the truth, that what is the reality. And here reality is in the sense of Chitta Chaitasic, Rupa and Nibbana. So the book starts with the Matikas establishing 122 Abhidhamma Matikas, 22 Tik Matikas, as well as 100 Dukkha Matikas and 42 Sutanta Matikas. So first of all, they properly belong to the Sutanta method of treatment. Secondly, that the last sections of Abhidhamma Matika is called as a Pitti Dukkha, the last supplementary dad. The supplementary set of pairs a name which indicates that at one time it formed the last sections of the text. And thirdly, in the 3rd chapter, we are having the Nikhep Kanda. So that is why scholars like Professor P.B. Bapat in the introduction of Dhammasaṅgaṇi says that Athdwar might have been compiled through the Abhidhammikacharyas after the Nikhep Kanda, because in the Nikhep Kanda there is a Pitti Dukkha which is sets that it was the last dried of the Nikhep Kanda, or the 3rd chapter. So there are 4 chapters we have already discussed: Chittupad Kanda, Rupa Kanda, Athdwar, Nikhep Kanda, and Athdwar Kanda. So there are 4 chapters which are discussing. In the 1st chapter, we had already discussed that it is called Chittupad Kanda, which discusses about the arising of the consciousness. Here, arising of the consciousness, it has been discussed on the basis of the class or the jati. First of all, Kusala Chitta, Akusala Chitta, Vipaka Chit and Kriya Chit. That Katme Dhamma Kusala, Katme Dhamma Akusala, Katme Dhamma Abhyakata. These have been discussed in the first chapter of Chittupadikand. So Chittupadikand discusses about what are the dhammas which are called as kusala or moral, wholesome. So it starts like that. Yasmi samay kama avachare kusalam chittam upannam hoti somanas sahagatam yan sampayuttam asankharikam fasso hoti vedana hoti chetana hoti ekaggata hoti mansikaro hoti. Like that the text starts. So see how there is a arising of the consciousness kusala chitta, that first type of kusala chitta, which is somanas sahagatam yan sampayuttam asankharikam chitta, starts from here. So there is an analyzing of the kusala dhamma, and first of all, it kamavachar sahetuka chitta, it has been elaborated in a very detailed manner. And then there is a discussion of the psychic factors, mental factors, chetsikas. We had also discussed that chetsikas are those states which are arising and sitting on the same base and on the same arising with the same points, ekupad nirodhacha, ekalamman vatuka, on the same object and on the same base, and they are always associated with the consciousness. So they have been also discussed with the kusalachit, that how many are the psychic factors which are associated with the kusalachit. And after the kamavachar chit, there is a discussion of the rupavachar kusala chit. Then there is a arupavachar kusala chit, then lokuttar chit. After analyzing the kusala chit, then on the basis of the kamavachar, rupavachar, arupavachar, and lokuttar, that is on the basis of the planes of existence, bhumi basena, they have been analyzed. And after that, there is a akusala, katme dhamma akusala. Now, it lobh mulak, dos mulak two, and moh mulak two, they have been analyzed in a very detailed manner. And what are the psychic factors, chetsikas, akusala chetsikas, which are associated with those lobh mulak, dos mulak, and moh mulak, they are also elaborated here. So on the basis of only in the Kamavachar Bhumi, there are 12 types of akusala chittas which have been enumerated in the first chapter of Chittupadikanda. So which have been analyzed here also. And in the Abhyakat, that here Abhyakat in the form of ethics. In the sense of ethics, it is called as Vipak and Kriya Chitta. So there are 36 or 52 types of Vipak Chitta on the basis of planes of existence, Kamavachar Bhumi, Rupavachar Bhumi, Arupavachar Bhumi, and Lokuttar Bhumi. They have been analyzed here, Katme Dhamma Abhyakata. That Abhyakat is neither moral nor immoral, but they are the resultant of the moral and immoral actions, as well as Abhyakat, that is the inoperative consciousness. So they have been analyzed here in a very detailed manner. So Chittupadikanda discusses about all 89 or 121 types of consciousness. We had also discussed that there are 56 types of psychic factors or the mental factors, chetsikas, which have been analyzed in the first chapter of our Dhammasaṅgaṇi. Again, we are coming to the Rupakanda, the second chapter. We have discussed that in the second chapter, there is a discussion on the Rupa. And here Rupa has been analyzed on the basis of the 11 ways. So there are 11 ways. First of all, that there is a question that what is the Rupa? Tat katvam sabbam Rupam. The answer has been given. Chattaro cha mahabhuta, chaturnam cha mahabhutanam, upadai, idam bucchati sabbam rupam. So there are 4 types of basic material qualities. Mahabhut, namely Patvi, Apo, Tejo, Bayo, earth, water, fire, and air. And there are 23 types of generated material qualities. That is the Upada Rupa. There is no Haday Rupa or Haday Vattu in the text of Dhammasaṅgaṇi. So these have been discussed and they have been arranged on the basis of the numbers from 1 to ascending order, that ek videna rupa sangha ho, do videna rupa sangha ho, ti videna rupa sangha ho, till ekadas videna rupa sangha ho. So first of all, ek videna rupa sangha ho, that roop is of one type by the way of that is anaramana or hetuka. So there are sankhata, sanklitha. So these have been discussed that how many are the types of the rope which are called as a one-fold way. In the Dubhidhena, that is Mahabhut and Upadarup. Tibhidhena, like all the material qualities, 4 Mahabhut and 23 types of Upadarup, they have been analyzed here. So in the third chapter, we are coming in a very brief manner, which will start our text from the next week. So there are already, we have discussed that there are 22 Tikmatikas and 100 Dukmatikas. First of all, there are 122 Abhidhamma they have been placed here. First of all, there are 22 Tikmatikas, in which first is the Kusalatik, then Vedanatik, Vipakatik, they have been analyzed till 22. After that, 100 Dukmatikas, they have been placed here, and there are 13 sub-chapters of Dukmatikas, 100 Dukmatikas, starting from the Hetu Kochaka. So, Professor Nalnach Datta, he says that there are 42 Sutantmatikas which have been raised 84 questions throwing light on the nature of the Dhammas. So in Nallas Datta thinks that Nikhepakanda was composed first, but P.V. Bapat suggests that it was composed later. Again, the third last chapter, that is the Athudwar Kanda, which explains the naughty points in the treatment of the Dhammas in the previous 3 chapters, like Chittupad Kanda, Rupa Kanda, and Nikhep Kanda. Some of the technical terms which have not been defined in the Chittupad Kanda, Rupa Kanda, and Nikhep Kanda, they have been elaborated in the Athudwar Kanda. Here, if you go through the title of the name of the Dwar, there are 2 words, Ath and Dwar. Dwar is in the sense of entrance or the door. Ath means meaning. The technical terms which have not been defined in a elaborate manner in the Chittupad Kanda, Rupa Kanda, and Nikhep Kanda, they have been elaborated in Athudwar Kanda. So the Athudwar, but it is also in the sense of dwar, entrance, that it gives the solution of the technical points which have not been raised in the previous 3 chapters. So Athudwar Kanda, which explains the naughty points in the treatment of the Dhamma, as the commentary states that this chapter was the latest edition. The explanation given here is still briefer, and we find new terms like Nibbana for a Sankhat Dhatu of the Nikhep Kanda. So this is the chapter which explains, first of all, that there is a term Nibban in place of a Sankhat Dhatu. In the third chapter, Nikhep Kanda, after the treatment of the Hetu Gochaka, there is a Chulantar Dukkha. In Chulantar Dukkha, there are 6 Dukmatikas which have been explained. And the first of all, that Katme Dhamma Apachaya, Katme Dhamma Sapachaya, Katme Dhamma Sankhata, Katme Dhamma Asankhata. So here there is a term for Nibbana, that Apachaya as well as Asankhata, that which are not dependent on cause and conditions. So in Athudwar Kanda, In the Nikhepakanda, we are having the term for the Nibbana as a Asankata Dhatu or Apachaya Dhamma. But here in the Dwarakanda, first of all, we are having the term Nibbana in place of Asankata Dhatu or Asankata Dhamma. Again, we had discussed about the justification of the title of Dhammasaṅgaṇi also in the last class. In a very brief manner, there are some of the questions which have been raised here, that when the Buddha has raised this inquisitiveness, then the second question arises as to how they will be understood. First of all, there is the establishment of 22 Tikmatikas and 100 Dukkmatikas, and altogether there are 266 angles of visions to examine the Chitta Chaitasic Rupa and Nibbana. Further, that by establishing 42 Sutantmatikas, enumerating by the 84 types of angles for making examinations of these reals, that is the Chitta Chaitasic Rupa and Nibbana. Now there is a question that why there is a establishment of the Matika and why there is a justification of the title Dhammasaṅgaṇi. Then there is a question that when there is a suffering with a man, what is the form of suffering and where does the suffering die? Where does it manifest and how its eradication is possible? So in the Dhammasaṅgaṇi, we are having the 121 types of consciousness or 89 types of consciousness on the basis of Kusala Dhamma, Akusala Dhamma, and Abhyakata Dhamma, and they have been classified on the basis of planes of existence, Kamavachar, Rupavachar, Arupavachar, and Lokuttara. And there is a practical application suggesting in its nature of arising each type of consciousness in the Chittupadakanda of Dhammasaṅgaṇi. So in the first chapter, we are having that how Chitta Chaitasic in the form of Nama. So Nam in the form of Chitta and Chaitasic, they have been analyzed. So man is a composition of Nam and Rupa, that is the mind and matter. In another way, man is a composition of Panchakhandhas, Rupa Khanda, Vedana Khanda, Sanya Khanda, Sankhar Khanda, Bhyan Khanda. In another way, man is a composition of Chitta Chaitasic and Rupa. In another way, man is a composition of 12 vases or 18 dhatus. So here we find in the Chittupadakanda that how Chitta Chaitasic, which is forming the Nama, that is the we had discussed that what is the Nama in Dhammasaṅgaṇi Nikhepakanda. There is a question Tat Katamam Namam. Vedana Khando, Sanya Khando, Sankhar Khando, Bhyan Khando, Asankata Cha Dhatu Idam Bhuchati Namam. So Vedana, Sanya, and Sankhara, they are 52 in number. They are stating the 52 types of psychic factors or Chaitasikas, and Bhyan Khanda is designated as a 89 or 121 types of consciousness. So Nam is another form of Chitta and Chaitasika. So in Dhammasaṅgaṇi, the first chapter discusses about the Chitta and Chaitasika, and in the second chapter we are having the Rupa, which the form objects which is moving around us, a personality of a human being, and man is a composition of Nam and Rupa, Chitta, Chaitasik, and Rupa. They have been analyzed here. So suppose a man has to refrain from himself from immoral activities and engaged himself in having the moral activities. He should know that what are the Kusal Dhammas, what are the Akusal Dhamma, and what are the inoperative Dhammas. The third question, which is related with the justification of the title of Dhammasaṅgaṇi, is without knowing them completely, there is chance of lapsage in either side. Therefore, in the Chittupadakanda, there is a enumeration of immoral and moral types of consciousness. We are having the 12 types of Akusala Chitta, as well as we are having the 21 or 37 types of consciousness which are called as wholesome or moral states. So even if we know that a thief or two thieves or even all thieves, but we do not know their association, then there is a chance of lapses and falling in the trap. Therefore, there is a need of knowing the factors which are associates of both the moral and immoral consciousness. So in fulfillment of this query, there is a enumeration of psychic factor, chetasikas, immoral in nature and moral in nature. It is after knowing the consciousness, knowing the psychic factors, one becomes able to know that this is the totality of the moral dhammas, moral states, and this is totality of the moral one. Again, there are Vipaka Dhammas also in the Chittupadakanda, the first chapter. So Vipaka is the Vipachan Athena Vipakam, that it is in the sense of a resultant of the moral and immoral actions. A person who does the moral actions, he gets the resultant of moral actions. If a person does immoral actions, he gets the resultant of the immoral actions. The fruits of tree are gross and visible, but the fruits of moral and immoral are mental. They can be experienced well. The fruits further becomes kam bija, seeds of furthering the action. Therefore, the immoral actions with their seeds should be minimized and gradually reduced to nothing, and moral actions with their fruits. So it should be accelerated and taken to the enumeration in their manifestation in the form of immense purification. Therefore, there is a introduction of the Vipaka Chitta. So it is the resultant of the Vipaka Chitta or resultant consciousness a person is liable to take in the another process of repeated existence. Again, there is another question, what will be the use of having such a type of understanding that man is a state of suffering and man can get liberations through the removal of the desires or understanding of the moral or immoral states. We understand that a being is understood by the consciousness. If his consciousness is polluted, he is also polluted. It is said that chitta sankilesa sankilesanti, chitta bodhana parisujjati. That if the consciousness is being defiled with the defiling factors, kilesas, there is no liberation or there is no freedom from the state of suffering. And where there is a all the impurities are removed from the consciousness, a person get a state of freedom or he is liberated. So a man who is in the real sense of the term is called as manosadham iti manusyo, that one whose mind is more elevated than other animals, he is called as a animal. Then what is called as pollution or pollutions are the defiling factors which are also discussed in the Dukmatikas. Whenever we are discussing about the Asava Gochaka, Nivaran Gochaka, Ganth Gochaka, Yoga Gochaka, Upadan Gochaka, Kiles Gochaka. So all these impurities, they have been discussed in a Dukmatikas. Six is Dukmatikas is discussing about it. So there are 10 Gochakas which are having the 6 Dukmatikas and they are explaining all the our defiling factors or the pollutions. So the sign of purity is the Kriya Chitta, whenever all our impurities are removed. Therefore, where there is no pollution at all, it does not give vipaka, and therefore there is the description of Kriya Chitta with minute details in the text of Dhammasaṅgaṇi. Now, in the Rupakanda, there is a second chapter of Dhammasaṅgaṇi, that how does consciousness manifest in the practical world. So that it is due to the association of Rupa. Rupa is the 4 Mahabhuta and 23 Upada Rupa or generated material qualities. So here, without the association of Rupa, there is no personality of a human being. So whenever Chitta Chaitsik is combined together with the Rupa, there is a associate, there is a composite form of Nam and Rupa. So when the reals have been stated very clearly in Chittupad Kanda and Rupa Kanda, what is the need of other chapters? Sometimes the questions are raised that when in Chitta Chaitsik have been elaborated in a very detailed manner in the first chapter. Rupa has been elaborated in the second chapter. What is the need of the third chapter, Nikhepakanda? So, main problem of the man is in suffering. The man has been explained in 2 chapters with minute details. The state of freedom has not been explained here. That Nibbana should also be explained. And for that, there is an introduction of Nikhepakanda. So in the Chulantar Dukkha, we are having Apachaya Dhamma or Asankata Dhamma, and where there is the description of the Nibbana which has been given. So there is a brief explanation of the Nibbana in the Matikas of the Chulantar Dukkha. Again, in doing so, in analysis, it can be seen that there are some Matikas which throw light on all the 4 reals, Chitta, Chaitsik, Rupa, and Nibbana, depicting man is in suffering, man in experience, and man is in freedom state. There are some Matikas which only explain Chitta, Chaitasika, and Rupa. So the 4 reals, Chitta, Chaitasika, Rupa, and Nibbana, have been explained in one place. And secondly, the man in suffering and man in eternal bliss have been pointed out. And thirdly, the nature of each has been made very much clear in the Dhammasaṅgaṇi. So the best form of exposition is available in Dhammasaṅgaṇi with the help of a number of attributes like Abhyakata Dhamma, Sukhaya Dhamma, Vipak Dhamma, and etc. They have been discussed. Again, so long as they remain observed, there is difficulty in understanding the Abhidhamma. As for this reason, there is an introduction of Athudwar Kanda, which is unfolding the 4 reals of Abhidhamma. So we see that in the Nikhep Kanda, as well as in the Rupa Kanda and Chittupad Kanda, there is a great elaboration of the Dhamma, that is the Chitta Chaitsika Rup Nibbana. But in Athudwar Kanda, in a very brief manner, they have been explained here. Like in Nikhep Kanda, when it is said that Katme Dhamma Kusala, Tini Kusal Mulani, Alobho, Adoso Amoho, Tam Sampayutto, Sanya Kando, Sankar Kando, Beyond Kando, Tam Samuthanam, Kai Kammam, Bachi Kammam, Mano Kammam, Ime Dhamma Kusala. But in Athudwar Kanda, just Chatusu Bhumisu Kusalam Hoti. Just one sentence has been given for understanding that how many are the states which are called as Dhamma. So Chatusu Bhumisu Kusala, that in Kamavachar there are 8, 5 Rupavachar, 4 Arupavachar, and 4 Lokattar. So 21 out of 89 and 37 out of 121 types of consciousness, which are called as Kusal, Chit, or wholesome consciousness. So this is the nicety of the Tutuarkand, which explained in a very brief manner here, and some of the technical terms which have not been made it clear in the previous 3 chapters, they have made it clear in this last chapter. So it is in this way the 4 reals of Abhidhamma, which have been left unfolded in Abhidhamma, have been explained through the Matikas and introducing in 4 chapters psychologically and justified way. So that is why there is a justification of the title of Dhammasaṅgaṇi, of the first text of Abhidhamma Pitaka. So there are some of the scholars who have observed the significance of this text Dhammasaṅgaṇi. why it is called as Mool Pakarana or basic text. Rupert Gethin in the text foundation of Buddhism, he says that in Dhammasaṅgaṇi, Matikas are as taxonomy of the Dhammas. So this is the best explanation of the Dhammasaṅgaṇi, that it is the Matikas which have been established in Dhammasaṅgaṇi. They are as taxonomy of the Chitta Chetsik, Rupa and Nibbana. Professor A.K. Warder, in the text Indian Buddhism, in the book, he says that in Dhammasaṅgaṇi is called as early systematization of the Chitta Chetsik, Rupa and Nibbana. Bhikkhu Bodhi, in the comprehensive manual of Abhidhamma, he says that this is the Dhammasaṅgaṇi, which makes a distinction between the Sankata Dhamma as well as Asankata Dhamma. There is no other text which makes it the distinction that what is Sankata and what is Asankata. And Sankata distinction secures Nibbana. So this is the nicety of our Dhammasaṅgaṇi. Professor Oscar Horn Hinuver, he's in the book Handbook of Pali Literature. He says that Dhammasaṅgaṇi as an early attempt at classification of the four reals, Chitta Chetsika, Rupa, Nibbana. So here the debates continue whether Paramat Dhammas are ontological entities or analytical categories. The text itself remain neutral, while commentarial traditions tends towards ontology. So these Chetsik Rup Nibbans are helping a personality of a human being to know the nature of the reality, that all things are subject to impermanence, all things are subject to suffering, and all dhammas are subject to soulless. Sabbe sankhara anicca, sabbe sankhara dukkha, sabbe dhamma anatta. So this is the text which gives the elaboration of the four reals, Chitta Chetsika, Rupa, Nibbana. They are helping a personality, Nam and Rupa, in finding that what is the reality and what is the how one a personality can get a state of eternal bliss. So therefore, this is the justification of all the chapters of Dhammasaṅgaṇi, and this is the introduction of our Dhammasaṅgaṇi, the contents of the 4 chapters of Dhammasaṅgaṇi. Now we will discuss the some of the Kusal 22 thick. Yes, sir.
There are any questions on this topic?
In house,
Okay.
if you have any questions, then you can ask.
If you have any question, doubt, or clarification, you can ask. Yes, Venerable. Please come.
Once again. Yes, there is the sentence you say the robbery without the Sutta method. How we understand?
Sutta Dhamena.
Well,
So the method, what belongs to it?
this is bring back the previous slides.
Previous slide.
You see. Which one people? Yes, because when we analysis how we understand logic, the Sutta method in Matika.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
In Dhammasaṅgaṇi, there are 42 Sutantamatika which have been depicted in Nikhepakand, the 3rd chapter of Dhammasaṅgaṇi. So here Sutantamatika are those Matikas which are based upon the Sutant. The technical terms which are defined in the Suttas, they have been put here also, for the sake of understanding that how these terms which have been discussed in the Dukkamatika as well as Sikmatika and Dukkamatika, Abhidhammatika which have been discussed, they are also compared in the Sutantamatika traditions, like Katme Dhamma Arana, Katme Dhamma Sarana. How many are the states which are polluting states. So these, how they have been said in the suttas, they have been said here. So one can make a comparison that how these sutant or the technical terms which have been defined in the suttas, they are how they are compared with the Abhidhamma-matikas. Yes, sir.
Also discussed here.
Yes, sir. As for example, we had also discussed that in the Vibhanga, there are descriptions of the Matikas. So there are three types here: Sutanta Bhajaniya, Abhidhamma Bhajaniya, and Panyapuchaka. So there are 18 Vibhangas here. So one example I was giving just now, that in the Sutanta Bhajaniya, how Rup Khanda has been defined by the Blessed One. So it has been said by the Blessed One regarding the Rupa Khanda that Yam Kinchi Rupam Atitanagata Pachpannam va Ajhattam va Bahidda va Polarikam va Sukumam va Hinam va Panitam va Dure va Santike va Tad Ekajam Abhisayitva Idam Buchyati Rupam. So Rupa he has been defined by the Blessed One. This is available in the Suttas of Majivnika. But how this in the second chapter of Dhammasaṅgaṇi, Rupa Kanda, Rupa has been defined as a Chattaro cha Mahabhuta, Chatunnam cha Mahabhuta, Upadai idam Buchyati Sabbam Rupa. So you make a comparison of that. So for the sake of in the Nikhep Kand also, first of all, there is a 22 Tikmatikas. After that, there are 100 Dukmatikas, which are discussing the Chitta Chetasik Rupa and Nibbana. Now there is the introduction of 42 Sutanta Matikas also, for the sake of understanding that how these Abhidhamma Matikas, which are discussing the four ultimate reality, Chitta Chetasik Rupa Nibbana, how they have been also discussed in the Suttas. So in the Sutanta traditions, there are 42 Sutanta Matikas which are discussing. So there are 84 questions there, and 84 answers also they have been given. So they are based upon the suttas, not on the Abhidhamma traditions, not on the basis of our Dhammasaṅgaṇi chapter.
There was also one question online. Somebody has written that.
Yeah, please, Professor Adam, please ask your question.
Oh, hi. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Yes, Adamji.
Okay, thank you very much for this occasion and this introduction. I just wondered whether you had any little comments, giving an overview briefly of the additions and existing modern translations of the Dhammasaṅgaṇi. Any little comments on the editions available and modern translations, and any comments as to the quality of these editions and translations. Thank you.
Any question?
Question about editions and
Any comments or
Dhammasaṅgaṇi?
About the edition.
Which are the available editions?
available
And the
editions of our Dhammasaṅgaṇi? Only C.S. David's. There is a series of a manual of psychological ethics. So there is a compendium of states, which is the translation of Dhammasaṅgaṇi in English. It has been published by Pali Text Society, London.
That's
So
a
this
translation.
translation, English translation is available here. Editions, I'm not aware of.
Yes, but it also this P.V. Babat's edition which you mentioned.
Yes, sir. But in our Devanagari, there are so many editions also. Like Bhandarkar Oriental Research Institute, it has published Dhammasaṅgaṇi in 1941 or 42, I think 1940. The first edition was published from Bhandarkar Oriental Research Institute. So this text is still available nowadays also. And Vipassana Research Institute, Igatpuri, It has also published Devanagari, and in Dhammasaṅgaṇi CD, you can find all the text of Abhidhamma Pitaka in all the scripts in Devanagari, Roman, Sinhalese, Thai, or other scripts also. You can get it. And there are other like Nalanda Mahavihar, Nalanda. It has also published the first of all in 1956 the Devanagari edition of Dhammasaṅgaṇi was published under the editorship of Bhikkhu Jagdish Kashyap. Again, it has been reprinted just 3-4 years back. There is a reprint of those texts, Abhidhamma Pitaka as well as Sutta Pitaka and Abhidhamma, all the 41 volumes which were published in from 1951 to 56. They have been reprinted by Nalanda Mahavihar 3 years back, and now they are also available here. So Dhammasaṅgaṇi, and recently one National Sanskrit University, Lucknow, it has also published the Sanskrit Chaya with the Pali text of Dhammasaṅgaṇi. Only the first 2 chapters it has been published by our Lucknow Parisar or Lucknow campus of National Sanskrit University, Lucknow. So these are the texts which are available on the Dhammasaṅgaṇi.
Thank you. And how do you feel about the quality of the existing modern translations?
One cannot judge about it that what is the quality, but the text, first of all, which was published by Bhikkhu Yanamoli, sorry, C.F. Rees David from the Pali Text Society. This is the original one which is available only in English translation. We can rely on the translation also. But if you go through the Indian traditions of some of the thoughts or the ideas which have not made it clear in the translation of our compendium of states by C.F. Rees David. And since it was published long back, 60 years back, so we cannot judge the quality at the present moment. But no modern translations it has been made. Neither any Indian scholar or Sri Lankan scholar or even Thai scholar has translated this text into English. Although some portions of Dhammasaṅgaṇi it has been translated into Hindi, but it is the complete translation is not available of Dhammasaṅgaṇi also. So, but we have to rely of the translations by C.F. Rees Davids.
Okay, thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yes, sir. I have one question. May I ask?
Just a minute, Murugesa sir is asking.
Hello.
Yes.
Yes. So I wanted to ask, in just a slide previous to this, you have mentioned that all the Paramatha Dhammas are ontological entities or analytical categories. There is a debate between this, right? Now, my question is, even the ontological entities, if you see, they are also part of analytical categories. So now my question is, if you can just simplify what the debate exactly is about.
Analytical, last.
Yeah, the slide just previous to this, there is a statement where it says all the Paramatha Dhammas. There is a debate that Paramatha Dhammas are either ontological entities or analytical categories, while the text remains neutral. But it is more inclined towards debate is more inclined towards ontological entities. My question is, if you can simplify, because all ontological entities itself are analytical categories. So, what exactly is the debate about? If you can just simplify this. About Dhammasaṅgaṇi.
Yes, you are asking about that how the four ultimate reality, namely Chitta, Chetsika, Rup, Nibbana, they are in the sense of ontological. Is it?
Yeah. So see, sir,
Yes.
the slide just before this, there is one statement. If you see the slide before this, if you can just go to it, there is a
Yes.
statement which says the debate is of
Back.
the dham, the yeah this one the
This
you see
one.
the fourth last line. Debate continues whether Paramatha Dhammas are all ontological entities or analytical categories, right? So I wanted to ask, because all ontological entities are itself analytical categories. So if you can simplify, what exactly is the debate about?
No,
In
only thing is
Dhammasaṅgaṇi?
that we have just discussed that how the four ultimate understanding the what are the moral dhammas or the good dhammas or wholesome states or immoral states. After understanding, we can purify our consciousness also. So this is the treatment of the dhammas which have been done in Dhammasaṅgaṇi, the first book of Abhidhamma Pitaka, in the 4 chapters, namely Chittupadikanda, Rupakanda, and Nikhepakanda. So here they are analyzed or they have been elaborated in a very detailed manner. So here Dhammasaṅgaṇi gives that how understanding a personality of a human being in the form of Chitta, Chetsik and Rupa, we can remove the defilements or defiling factors or the kilesas which are polluting our consciousness. And in that way, one can get a state of freedom or visuddhi or a state of eternal bliss. So these are the treatment of dhammas which have been done in Dhammasaṅgaṇi, through which one can analyze the what are the unwholesome states or akusala dhammas and how they can be removed. So there are ways of the removal of those defiling factors. They have been discussed also in the suttas, in the Rath Viniti Sutta. There are 7 stages of purifications, or in other suttas, how following the eightfold path, or Sil, Samadhi, or Panya, one can get purification. Is it clear?
Yes, it is clear. Thank you for that. But then, how is analytical categories different from what we are speaking right now? What is different in that?
What is the difference between analytical and
Ontological.
ontological? Yes. Yes, analytical, what we have seen that how the 4 ultimate realities, they have been analyzed here in the form of treatment of the dhammas, that is the tikmatika, dukmatika, and sutantamatika. We have seen that how in the Chittupadikanda, Rupakanda, Nikhepakanda, they have been elaborated. And we have seen also in the second text of Abhidhamma Pitaka, which is called as a supplementary text of Abhidhamma Pitaka, that is the Vibhanga, that how there is a treatment of the Dhamma on the basis of Sutanta Bhajaniya, Abhidhamma Bhajaniya, and Pahiya Puchaka. So here the all 4 ultimate realities, Chitta, Chetsika, Rupa, Nibbana, they are analyzed on the basis of the suttas, Abhidhamma, that is the Tikmatika and Dukmatikas, and by asking the questions on the basis of Tikmatika and Dukmatika under the category of Pahiya Puchaka. So here this is in the sense of analytical. And these analyzing the Dhammas, one can also get a state of that what is the nature of the reality and what is the what is the nature of the reality, that all things by understanding all these 4 ultimate realities, Chitta, Chetsika, Rup, Nibbana, one can get that all things are subject to suffering, all things are subject to impermanence, and all things are subject to soulless. All dhammas are subject to soulless. So by understanding all these things and analyzing the states, whatever it has been given in the Dhammasaṅgaṇi or Vibhanga or other text of Abhidhamma Pitaka, one can get a state of eternal bliss. In that sense, it is called as ontological. Ontological, that we are finding that what is the real and what is the real nature of the reality. And nature of the reality is that anicca, dukkha, and anatta. So this is the thing. In that sense, it is called as ontological. Is it? And Mrigan Pratap is also asking.
We can take that after the tea break.
Okay, okay.
Take a break for 10 minutes and then we will be back again after this tea. Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.